ourselves. So we each have our own battle, and the battle is in the heart. We have our own battle to fight. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj encouraged all of us to become spiritual warriors. This is the main battle. It's not outside. It's not the other people. It's not the climate. It's not the disease. It's our mind. It's our worst enemy. The mind will tell you, no, you cannot do that. You cannot. Don't go to temple. Go to the movies. Don't go to eat prasad. Go and eat in the restaurant. So this is the mind. The mind is our enemy. So when we are devotees for some time, then sometimes in the beginning we make so many sacrifices. So the special mercies, all we did is in our spiritual bank account. But sometimes devotees, they come to a heavy test and then they just give up and they leave. We should never give up. And now is the time that we can take the opportunity to advance more and more. But sometimes we get tricked by Maya and we think, no, I will take the more comfortable way. But actually, it's not a comfortable way, it's the more difficult way. When you stay in Krishna consciousness, and everything becomes easy. But sometimes we come to a crossroad and there's the path of, where we start criticizing and we start fault-finding and we want to go that way. And then there's a path of surrender and tolerating and seeing the good in the devotees, appreciating. Very interesting, I was reading Madhavananda, he printed that when you criticize someone, then you are helping Chitragupta, who is Yamaraja's scribe. Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, he has a servant named Chitragupta, and he is counting all the sins that people do. So that's his job. Now, if you start counting all the faults of people, then you are helping Yamaraj's servant. You're in his court. You're in the court of Yamaraj. So there are two courts. One is the court of Yamaraj, Lord of Death. He will judge us. You can be in his court and find all the faults, or you can be in the court of Nityananda and don't see any faults and see the good. So when you see the good, then you're in the court of Nityananda. And if you see the faults, then you're in the court of Yamaraj. And if you stay in one of those courts this life, then at the end you will go to that court. You may go to the court of Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, or you may go to the court of Nityananda and go to the spiritual world. So think twice next time before you criticize anybody. Now, and this is the first reason why devotees leave Krishna consciousness when they have a test, is that they may criticize, they may commit aparat, which means to criticize. Second is their lack of humility, that sometimes if you stay for a few years, then you actually feel, oh yes, now I'm a big something, but actually nobody is big, and I just was reading today about the life of one devotee, Amekala Dasi, and she was just a regular devotee, and she went through so many trials. She had a lot of criticism against her in her life, because she had three marriages, I think, and different husbands, but she was always trying to help devotees and serve devotees, and and she went back to Godhead at the end of her life. She was having visions. Before she left, she had one vision of Mayapur, and she saw two small boys playing, which she understood was Gaura, Chaitanya and Nityananda. And then she had and they said, it's not time yet for you to leave. Then she saw one of Krishna, a little blue boy playing, and he said, yeah, I'll come back for you later. So we know where she went, and she was very peaceful devotee. And I'll tell you another story tomorrow about one devotee who was just, everybody thought she's ordinary, just a regular wife, mother, regular lady, but she also went back to Godhead. So we should have this humility. These devotees, they had humility. They tried to help everyone. So if you don't have humility, you can fall down. And third is a lack of quality association. If you don't have good association, you may also leave Krishna consciousness if you have bad association. And fourth, a reason why devotees fall down is lack of understanding of the path, the dynamics of advancement. If you don't know that you're going to have to go through these tests, when the test comes, then you'll say, well, why is this happening to me? I'm such a great devotee. This is very, very difficult. So we need to be aware, and that's why this class today, it will show what we can expect, or what we may be going through at this point in our lives, what we may be experiencing right now. So we will go to the next verse, and the next verse will talk about this, the clearing of the heart, verse 18, 1 to 18. Nashtapayesha bhadreshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati-uttama shloke Bhakti bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam, and by rendering the service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, establishing irrevocable fact. So here's the remedy for eliminating all inauspicious things on the path. And that is the association of the Bhagavatas. Two kinds of Bhagavatas. The devotee Bhagavat and the book Bhagavat, Srimad Bhagavatam. Both of them are remedies. If you're finding obstacles on your path, you just open the book, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, or you try to associate with a devotee Bhagavat. Now, Bhagavata Sevaya is described in this verse. What it means is not to approach Bhagavan directly, but you serve the devotee. You serve Bhagavat, who has dedicated his life to Bhagavatam, and that's the devotee. He's dedicated his life to preaching, the books, and so this is such a wonderful thing. As we were hearing yesterday, thank you for coming, Hare Krishna. Please come tomorrow, we have a feast at 3 o'clock.
Yes.
Good, Hare Krishna. So, yes, this is the prescription, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. How you can become free, and what happens if you, Prabhupada says, every day or every moment, you should remember Bhagavatam. Every day or every moment. Then the dirty things will be almost all, here it says, prayeshu, nasta prayeshu. Prayeshu means almost all the dirty things, not even all the dirty things. Almost all, when almost all are finished, you come to the level of nishta, or steadiness. So at what point do we become steady and come to this level? There is a percentage, which Srila Prabhupada has explained in lectures on this verse, and that is 75%. When your bad anarthas, when your bad qualities are finished 75%, then you come to steadiness. And this we will hear more about on Monday, that what are the symptoms of steadiness. Naishtiki. We see here in this last line, Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. When almost all of the things are finished, you come to Nishta, or steady devotional service. So, what happens when 75% is clean? Prabhupada will help us. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami explained, he was in a class with Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was saying, you have to be 100% free from all material desires before you can go back to Godhead. And the devotees, they were looking really just, depressed. And so he said, okay, 90%. Devotees still looked very depressed. Okay, 80%. And then he just walked off the Vyasasana and he looked back and he said, 75%. So, special concession from Srila Prabhupada, because we need it. We are fallen people in this fallen age, and very difficult to focus our mind on the chanting. And so he said, if you can just get to this point, then he will help us to go back to Godhead. And that means you chant 16 rounds, follow the four regulative principles, at least that much, and try when you're chanting to avoid the offenses. At least try to come on the clearing stage. That means two things, two symptoms. You avoid the offenses to chanting, and the biggest one is inattention. And the second symptom is that attentiveness. So they both revolve around attention to chanting pretty much. So I'll tell you a story. There was one devotee in South India, and he had to make members of ISKCON, life members, but he wasn't doing very well, so he looked in the phone book, and he was looking at all the Indian names, and he saw a Bengali name, because he's Bengali. So he phoned up the Bengali name in the phone book, and he made an appointment to see him, and he had a huge office, and he showed the books, and he said, yes, I'll become a member, and I'll give you a donation. Why did he say that? He said, because my father grew up in Calcutta and was a classmate of Abai, Srila Prabhupada. His name was Abai. And he used to come every day to our house at lunch and play chess with my father. And the stakes for the game was lunch. And almost always Abai would win. Later, this man, his father, got a PhD in Sanskrit, and he became a professor in local university. So Abai told him, you should help me later on when I do something. So, years later, the son learned that Prabhupada had gone to New York. He came back, and there was a local Calcutta temple. That's where I was living for 7 years. And he used to come and see Prabhupada there for 3 days. And Prabhupada said, where's your father? Why didn't he come? Tell him I want to see him. So the son went home, and the father said, how can I go see him? He's guru of the world. I'm just a fallen family man. Son said, no, he wants to see you. What should I tell him? So the father said, tell him I'm sick. So the son went to see Prabhupada. Why didn't your father come? Prabhupada asked. Oh, he's sick. Okay. The next morning he said, I will go to see him. So his morning walk, he went through all the back alleys, and he went to the door, rang the bell, and he went to visit this man. And he went in straight to the bedroom, and he poked him in the stomach, said, hey, you didn't come to see me. So then he said, my disciples need to learn Sanskrit. I told you, you should help me. Come, teach them Sanskrit. You can travel around the world and with me and teach them. Why don't you do that? You come, I'll take you. He said, oh, Swamiji, I'm very old. I don't have any spiritual energy. Prabhupada said, no, you have the spark. Same quality in me is in you. You should join this movement. It's very important. Bharata Bhumite Nushavaya Jar. He said, perfect your life. Better late than never. And Prabhupada left. 3 o'clock that afternoon, the son came home from school. His father asked for some water. And the father leaned back and said, Bhaktivedanta Swami will take me. He closed his eyes and he left his body. So then the son was telling the story to the devotee in the office. He said, you know, when Prabhupada told my father, you come, I thought Prabhupada was saying, you come to ISKCON and I'll take you everywhere. Well, we understand what Prabhupada actually meant after my father passed on. So he said, when you called me, I asked you to come because I wanted to share this with you. Actually, we're already life members of ISKCON. So, a wonderful story, so he understood, you know, this man, Prabhupada took him. And even though he hadn't followed anything, Prabhupada was very kind and merciful, and he took him. So, now I'd like to describe a little bit about the cleansing process that's happening in the heart. And this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 1, like towards verse 98 to 100. The first thing that happens, well, we cannot see them now, but it's Gornitai. We come to Gornitai. Gornitai enter our hearts. So take a good picture of them, because we have so many other pictures that are in our hearts. So it's good if you take a nice picture in your heart of Gornitai. They will come in your heart. And it's described, what happens when they come in your heart? They are like the sun and the moon. And in this world we have our sun here, and we have our moon, and they dissipate the darkness of external objects. But when Gornitai come in your heart, they dissipate the darkness of the core of your heart. So, and what happens when they do this? They reveal, they help you meet two kinds of Bhagavatas, the book and the devotee Bhagavat. That's what they do. That's the first thing that happens. And this is all in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then these two Bhagavatas clean your heart, and they give you bhakti. They give you devotion to the Lord. And the last thing that happens, who can tell me what happens next after you get bhakti? After you get devotion in your heart. If you were in my class 3 years ago, you might remember. Krishna comes under your control. That's what happens. You control Krishna by your love. When you love is what controls everyone, and also controls God. So you come under Krishna's control. Now we're going to discuss a little bit of the different levels of an Arjuna-vritti, and this, it's in white. You have this in white. It's like a chart. One of the 3 or 4 papers which you have, and you can share with somebody if you don't have it. And so we go to, on the left side at the bottom, there's a level called Utsaha Mayi, false confidence or enthusiasm. So this is the beginning stage of Bhajana Kriya, or performing devotional service. Sometimes the example is given of a young student. He starts his education and then he becomes very proud and thinking he's a great scholar when he graduates. So sometimes when we first join, we become over-enthusiastic and we want to convert the whole world. And especially we start with our parents, and they're not very, especially the way we preach in the early days was not very good. We were saying, you know, you go and tell your mother and father, you're not my mother, you're not my father. I had so many mothers and fathers. It's not the way to convert, to please anyone. So yeah, we tried first to preach to our parents, to our friends. You may go on the street to sell books and you meet some old person and say, your teeth are falling out, your heart of hearing, your liver is defective, like we hear from the Bhagavatam. And you're going to die, you know, take this book. I don't know if that would be a very good way to preach. So over-enthusiasm, it's called, over-enthusiastic. So this is the first level. I mean, and we also think, yes, I'm such a pure devotee, but nobody appreciates me around here. And I mean, that's how when we first join, we think a lot of ourselves, that, you know, we're really advanced. Somehow, but nobody appreciates me, my advancement. So these are the kind of things we go through right in the beginning of our devotional service. That is called Utsaha Mayi. And the second level is called Ghanatarala, sporadic endeavor. That means sometimes we're enthusiastic and sometimes we're not. So we have, what it means is that sometimes we're chanting very nicely and very concentrated, and sometimes we get distracted and we lose it. And we think, okay, how many more rounds? How long is this going to take? I have many things to do today. I should really chant quickly and finish. Now, this is not the way to chant. And sometimes we're very enthusiastic. Wow, this is so nice, this chanting. I'm feeling so happy. I really like to do this. So this is like up and down. And sometimes we don't even want to chant, you know. And we 2 rounds is a struggle. Yeah, especially if you're sick. So it might be difficult. So this is called sometimes good rounds, sometimes bad, sometimes we're enthusiastic to get up early in the morning. Oh yeah, I want to go to Mangalarti, it's really nice. And sometimes we're sleeping and we think, okay, I've been to so many Mangalartis, this one I can skip. So our sadhana is not steady sometimes, at this level. At this level, it's not steady. And so this is called Gana Tarala. And Vyuda Vikalpa, that is the third level. Indecision, extensive speculation. So this is a stage where you've been practicing for some time, perhaps you're a brahmachari and you think, should I get married or should I remain brahmachari? Or if you're in some temple and you're not happy, you think, okay, maybe my problems will be solved if I change temples. We go somewhere else. You think, oh, maybe I should go to India. Or if you're married, you think, okay, maybe I should renounce, I should just leave my family and go off and chant and then I'll be peaceful. But unfortunately, your mind will go with you. So you cannot renounce the mind will tag along and you won't be peaceful. So this is the level of indecision, doubts come, and you think, well, maybe I should find another movement, but there are not so many austerities to perform. Maybe I'm in the wrong movement. I heard there's another one where you don't have to do all these for your principles. Only 3 or 2, or maybe only 1. That's even better. So this level, this is a level of indecision or doubts. Doubts will come, and so you have to be steady and remember the goal and where you want to go with your life. That's very, very important. When you come to this level, it's not good to be proud. It's good to ask the help of other devotees. Consult with your other devotees, with your friends, with your guru, with the shastras. That's very, very important when this happens to you, when you start doubting that you're doing the right thing. And so then you need help, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, the repairman for your TV in your heart. You need help. So yes, don't do it alone. This is important. This is why sometimes devotees leave, because they don't take association or help from other devotees. Even devotees in high positions, especially, maybe feel very isolated because they're only associated with the younger devotees, which they try to help. But actually, the peer association is very important for those on the path. So that's the third level. The fourth level is Vishaya Sangara. That is a tug of war, struggle with the senses. So sometimes you fall down into it, you go outside and eat in a restaurant or something that's not very good. Or you may try to enjoy in some way. If you have been taking drugs before or something, you may go and smoke a cigarette or something. I don't know. These are examples of this level. But still you realize, oh, this is not good, I should not have done that. I must try really hard and pray so that I do not fall down again. And devotees fall down, and sometimes they fall down and they come back, and this means that it was an accidental fall down, Prabhupada said. But they come back to Krishna consciousness. So sometimes the devotee, he wages a war against his desire for sense gratification. Sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses. So this is this level, and he still feels great regret at his weaknesses. So this is the fourth level. Niyamakshama is the fifth level, and this one is not a struggle with the senses, but it's a struggle to improve. You want to increase your chanting, you want to increase the quality of your chanting and your service, and still you cannot do it. You want to chant 25 rounds on the Kadashi, you want to do Nirjal Kadashi, you just cannot do it. You cannot fast. Especially in old age, you cannot fast anymore, actually. Very, very difficult to fast. You'll faint. So anything can happen. You can have a stroke, you can faint, you can have a heart attack. So you cannot even follow these things. But So, but this is, I mean, this is different, but sometimes we'll make extra vows. And we want to improve, and so we'll make, okay, from now on I will chant 20 rounds a day. But then the day comes and we can't do it. Or on Ekadashi, the special day, we'll say, okay, today I will not take any food or water for the whole day. I will stay awake the whole night and chant, and I will do this vow. So you may do it, but then the next day you sleep and eat, and you can't do anything the day after. Actually, according to the real way to do it, it's a 3-day thing, a 3-day fast. It's on Dashami and Ekadashi and Dwadasi, you're only supposed to have milk, so it's not an easy thing to do. But sometimes we try to improve by making vows, but we can't always keep them. And the last stage is Tarangarangini, attachment to adoration. People praise you, they give you money, they give you donation, they give you a nice room, and you get attached to these things. So that's why sannyasis, the renounced order, they're not supposed to stay in a place more than 3 days. Because if you stay more than 3 days, you start arranging everything for your comfort. So Prabhupada, he gave that example when he was in Africa. He was going to different life members' houses 3 days at a time. And he said that way you don't inconvenience your host, and at the same time you don't get attached. And Narada Muni, he's our previous acharya, he was cursed that you cannot stay any place for a long length of time. So Prabhupada said he has also been cursed by the parents of his disciples not to stay any place very long. And he traveled around the world, I think 12 or 14, I can't remember how many times. Many, many times. 10 or 14 or 12 or... Anyway, a huge amount of time in 10 years he traveled around the world. So this is showing that he had beautiful opulent places all over the world, but he did not stay in any one place, but he kept traveling. So this is the last thing, Tarangarangini. So now I'd just like you to look for a few minutes at this, and you can be in one of these levels, or you can be at many, 2 or 3 at once, or you can be at all 6 at once. So this is confidential just for your own introspection. I just like you to look at it and see if you can figure out if you're on any of these levels. And we'll keep it to yourself. We're not going to share this, so you can just be really honest. It's just for you and yourself. And so this is not going to be shared. It's confidential, but it's for your information, and so you can improve. We do want to improve. So we're going to give you also some ways to improve and to make progress. Okay, so now we have one page which is prayers to overcome offenses. Now this is one thing you can do. You can chant at any time of the day, but it's very good to say before or after you chant your japa on your beads. And these are prayers to overcome offenses. The first one is recommended by Srila Prabhupada in his purport. It's a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 10, chapter 1, verse 4. Okay, let us see. Is Gaura going to show us their beautiful faces? Yes, they are. Jai. Jai Gaura. And before we chant these prayers, the most beautiful prayer in the way to overcome offenses is to chant the Panchatattva Mahamantra, because they don't consider our offenses. And they help us clean all offenses, counteract offenses to chanting the holy name.